Hello. The mic is on this week. So this week we're playing Stellaris. That way. Now this game just came out on consoles, like yesterday. But this is on PC, because I don't have it on console. And it's probably better to play on PC, but from what I understand it's actually quite playable on console. I don't know if they've added controller support for the PC version, but I'd be interested to try that at some point. So if you don't know what Stellaris is, it's called a 4X game, which stands for four things that I can't remember what it stands for. But it's basically Civilization, but bigger. Rather than focusing on kind of just the technology aspect or technically the combat aspect of Civilization. In a game like Stellaris, you could effectively go the entire game without fighting anyone, at least until the very end of it. Those are the ones: explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. Effectively, those are your choices in the game. You don't necessarily have to do all of them. You can kind of get a general idea of what they're going for by looking through the default species that you've got available. So you've got your United Nations of Earth, which is basically Star Trek. And then you've got your military dictatorship, the Commonwealth of Man, which is basically the Terran Empire from Star Trek. And then it keeps on going through various different species. You've got a communal, like communist, I guess, kind of bird species. A mega corporation, which is brand new. It's one of the latest expansions. Different things like that. Quite a lot of different kind of races in the game. Not all of them very humanoid, which is a nice change. You can go right down to having alien arthropods. These guys that are basically the funny sounding things from Mass Effect. You can have giant alien mushrooms. Or blorgs. Yes, Hanar, those are the ones. You can also have cats. This is my species. But what we're going to actually do is create a brand new empire. So again, these are the kind of choices that you've got. You've got quite a different range of humanoids. You can have specifically machine empires. Break it down into mammalians. So that's cats, foxes, platypuses, platypi. Is that a geth? Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a tropey kind of thing, no matter what way you cut it. I do quite like the UB01 jellyfish. Nihilego, or however the hell you pronounce it. Reptilian, avian, arthropoid. You get some proper weird ones in this section, like a butterfly. Mollusks, mushrooms, plants. And this guy's basically Groot. Not the butterfly. I'm kind of tempted to go for space snails. It was very hard to say when you're also looking at the space slug and wanted to say space slug at the same time. Yeah, I think space snail is definitely what we want to go for. Okay, so we can choose the kind of default world for our species. It's not linked to the kind of species that you are, so it can be pretty much whatever you want. This effectively limits how they can live out in space, the amount of planets that will be habitable for them. It's kind of the same either way. If you choose kind of the middle of the road continental Earth kind of planet, then you've got a wider range of different planets that you can live upon, but one way or another your species needs that kind of planet either way. Your aquatic molluscoids had some issues finding habitable planets. The game's set up so that effectively whenever you start a game, habitable planets will exist. But beyond that, it kind of gets a bit harder, depending on what you choose. But for the sake of world building, we can basically just go with whatever makes sense for our nice little space snail. So we probably want wet, I guess. Kind of like a tropical world kind of thing. There is a setting now that specifically says habitable planets will exist nearby. So you can turn that on when you start a game now. We're just going to go with a random homeworld name. Starting solar system. So you've got various options here. Starting with our solar system. So if you start with one of the human characters, you'd start with the solar system. But you can have a handful of different things. I think we'll probably go with random trinary. I quite like the idea of well, maybe we'll go for a random binary star. I don't really like that name. Let's get something else. That'll do. And we can even choose the type of city that you'll see out the window when you talk to this species. So it doesn't necessarily have to be what species that you've picked. You can have whatever you want. I think we'll go for a plantoid city. That looks quite cool. Ethics is kind of like the building block of the morality of your species. So you've got stuff like fanatic militarist, or just normal militarist, or xenophobe, or egalitarian, materialist, pacifist, xenophile, authoritarian, or spiritualist. And then you've got the kind of democratic, or I guess authority system, like it says authority. I was trying to think of a different word for it. What would fit for our snails? I'm leaning towards imperial. Xenophile does indeed make the game significantly easier. If you pick negative things for your species, you're always going to have a negative encounter. Sometimes that's what you want, but it can make the game harder as a result. So we have more ethics points. We don't necessarily want to be pacifists or authoritarians. Probably want to be egalitarian, maybe materialist. We'll just go with democratic then. Your selection here is narrowed down by your ethic points. Civics. This is again kind of like specific buffs related to the morality of your species. Let's give them parliamentary system since we've got democratic. And technocracy. Why not? think we'll just stick with that as it is. Empire name, species name is required. Have we not done species name? Oh, we've not done species name. What shall we call our space snails? Maybe we should call them space snails. It's really not hard to have a better parliament than the UK's at the moment, is it? Space snails. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. Where's the mollusks? I'll just go with the standard names that we've got on that. Yep, cool. So traits for your species. Again, these are all kind of like default buffs and nerfs as well. This is effectively a bit like The Sims when you're creating a sim, only much more in depth. I never really pay that much attention to it, to be honest. I pretty much just pick what sounds nice. Rapid breeders. I've used up all my points by doing that. I'll have to give them some negative points. I'll probably say that they're weak. Let's maybe make our habitability a little bit easier if we can. We'll maybe just leave it as adaptive, to be honest. Yeah, we've done all that. Where have we got? Empire name. The Coalition of Bacturim. Commonwealth of Bactur. I think we want Space Snail in there. Yeah, Space Snail Union. Yes, please. We can go all the way out with making flags and shit, but I think we'll probably just go with octopus. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Again, you can go right into your ship design. I think there are mods for the game now as well where you can completely just go mad creating ship designs. I quite like the molluscoid ships to begin with, so I'll probably just stick with those. Let's give our starting ruler a female gender. And yeah, we don't have clothes, phenotypes, or hairstyles because we're snails. But we can change the room. And I quite like that. That's quite cool. Shushk the Space Snail. Oh yeah, you can immediately just start off by selecting either a race you've already created doing this, or one of like, I think it was something like 16 different races that's pre-built, so you don't have to do any of this, to be honest. But if you wanted to, you could pretty much just spend your entire evening just doing this. I'm sure many people have. Again, I think there were mods and stuff, so you can do different things for this, but only for single player. So space nil saved, done. So these are the different options that you get when you start the game. And like I said, there's the habitable worlds thing. So that kind of gives you a overall amount of nearby habitable worlds. Don't normally need to change any of this, to be honest. You could probably tweak these numbers a bit if you want. Advanced AI starts is basically empires that don't grow, but they start off really, really powerful. They're basically endgame empires that have died, but they've still got all of their power. Oh, that's the fallen empires, rather, sorry. Advanced AI is, well, it's AI that starts off more powerful than you do. I think we might just knock that off, actually, so that we don't run into any of those guys. Fallen empires and marauder empires are tough enough as it is. So we'll just go with that. Loading screens, always relatively slow in this game, but this seems to be going pretty quickly. In the eons since the first primitive Space-Snell communities took shape in the dense jungles of Baktur, our civilization has spread and prospered. Alas, our ancestors were victims of ignorance and superstition in the early eras. This dark period of our history lasted until science and rationality were firmly established as the guiding principles of our society. A new democratic system of government was introduced where important decisions were made by consensus. Now, after the discovery of the Hyperlane network, our finest minds of the Space-Snell Union have finished development of the first hyperdrives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. So every game always starts off pretty much like this. This spiel will be different depending on the different setup of your empire. But every game always starts off where you've just gotten faster than light capability, basically. You don't know of the existence of any other aliens or anything like that. You are effectively as if we developed space travel tomorrow. I'm just going to turn you off because I don't really need you. So because we've got a binary star system, we've got 2 stars. And in our star systems, we've got different resources, basically. So you've got energy, minerals, food, consumer goods, which is a recent addition, alloys, which is another recent addition, and our last 2 resources are influence and unity. Unity is basically what's used to give you permanent buffs, while influence is basically spent in claiming star systems and other things, but we'll get to that. So we've got 3 different research branches, and these guys will pretty much just carry on doing this in the background over the next however many months that it takes to do it. So research speed up, yep. Now let's get some bonus unity, eh? And let's do that. So all of these technologies are either stuff to unlock, like stuff for new kinds of ships, or buffs for going forward, basically. You can affect how quickly that goes with research, that you can set up research stations around planets. Yeah, I know what's paused. I'm busy. We've got our military fleets, which at this point of the game do nothing. Used to be you could send them out to the other side of the solar system, basically, or to the other side of the galaxy, rather, and just kind of scout the entire map. But in the latest versions of Stellaris, you can only travel to systems that you haven't explored with the science ship, and you can only travel to systems that you've uncovered the hyperlanes for. So with my science ship I can travel here, but I can't travel here. So you have to do some very manual, let's do the closer one, very manual kind of exploration in the early game. And we've got a construction ship as well, and what we can basically do is just set him to work building shit. But not yet, because I don't have enough minerals. And that's kind of the initial stuff of the game, so we're going to just speed that up a bit. So now our science ship is running around this solar system, scanning it, and then telling me what all of the resources are. And once this system is fully scanned, I will be able to take my construction ship and build an outpost here and claim this star system. You ran out of alloys too quickly. You need to make sure that you're generating alloys, which we'll probably get to, but you need to generate alloys on your planets.
Survey complete.
I'm probably not going to play this on fastest speed too much, just until the game kind of actually starts, and then we'll slow it back down so that we can go through it properly. But generally, what I would tend to do is I would play it on fastest, pause it when something happens, and then just keep on going. We have recovered artifacts from an ancient alien civilization on Jatham 3. They must have been active in this region of space approximately 12 million years ago, judging by the age of the artifacts. From what we've been able to piece together, our scientists theorize that these aliens, who called themselves the Voltum Star Assembly, were worm-like annelids, roughly 3 to 4 meters in length, that communicated with each other primarily through vibrations carried along their segmented bodies.
Log updated.
So, the way that the story is told in this game is through you randomly encountering it in issues just like this. You'll always have a different kind of story every time you play. You can end up just completely ignoring this, to be honest, and just powering on through. And sometimes when I'm playing, especially the early part, which is all fairly similar, I kind of won't pay much attention to it. But it is really interesting sci-fi that they've written for it, to be honest. You can get quite deep into a Star Trek kind of roleplay level if you want to. Weeks after the ISS Shalurga's latest fruitful exploratory survey, Spasnil this is a lot of hard words, are practically falling over themselves to publish their takes on the findings on Jatham 3. The fevered storm in the scientific communities had some negative yet temporary impact on pursuit in other fields. So, because this is our first encounter with any kind of alien life, everyone on the planet is just going mental about it, basically. So our construction ship is currently just using up all of those resources on the solar system that we haven't built stuff on. Creating these buildings does have an ongoing cost. So if I hover over this mining system, this will end up costing me a bit of energy every week, every month, But so long as I'm getting enough energy back from other sources, it's fine. So this is our traditions, which is basically a kind of skill tree, I guess. It's basically just permanent buffs throughout the rest of the game. I think you could get enough Unity points throughout the entire game to unlock everything. But the order in which you do it is going to depend on what you want to do in the game. So if you want to focus on killing everyone, you'd probably want to go for domination and supremacy. If you want to focus on expanding and being friends with everyone, you'd go for expansion, diplomacy, harmony. I kind of always start with expansion, especially in the early game. Your very first purchase is just unlocking the route, so you get nothing from it. But the next one, you'll get one of these two bonuses. Our construction ship is currently doing bugger all, so we will build our first outpost. So far it's been about 2.5 in-game years, and our science ship has surveyed 2 new solar systems. It's come back with a anomaly that it's found. There are signs of activity by an ancient precursor civilization on this inhospitable rock. So the anomaly research has changed significantly since early versions of Stellaris. So if you played early versions of Stellaris, this is very different now. It used to be your science officer could fail the task entirely if they weren't a high enough level, but now the level just adds a modifier for how long the task takes for a given level. So hard just means this is going to take ages. There's no pressure to do it now, so I think we'll probably just leave that be for now and come back to it. So that system is surveyed. Let's finish off that triangle. Now,
Construction complete.
what I've not managed to do in surveying these 2 systems is find any hyperlanes beyond that. So unfortunately, Jotham is a dead end. Our construction ship is done. Let's build another outpost. So I guess in the early game you'd probably kind of want to just do what I'm doing here and have your construction ship follow your science ship and just build outposts as you finish scanning these areas. The important thing is just to make sure that you're always keeping a nice decent plus number of all of these resources. If you're not, you're going to run into trouble. You have gained new skills. What have you gained? He has leveled up. Come back. So on our planet, we've currently got unemployment. So we're going to want to build something to keep those people busy. What do we want? I suppose we probably just want a commercial zone.
Survey complete. Construction complete.
Oh yes, you can use these districts to generate additional power, minerals, or food, and that'll use up your unemployment as well. Which is a much nicer system than it used to be. I guess it's kind of the old system reworked a little bit. This is effectively all you used to have, and now you've also got buildings on top of it. Our science ship is doing bugger all. So let's go and survey that system. So this is kind of annoying, where we've got these two star systems, and they're going to be in our space forever, but we've got no way of getting to them yet. So we can finally do this, so we'll make our star bases a little bit cheaper. This icon is telling us that we've got a potentially habitable world, but it's only really 30% suitable for our species, so it's definitely not our primary choice. This one is not yet checked, but we've got an alpine world on this star system. Yeah, I guess it's probably, if you think about it that way, it's along those kind of lines. The way that the game used to work was that you had 3 different faster than light travel options, which included hyperlanes, but you could just travel any which way you wanted. One of the other options was wormholes, so you could discover wormhole technology and just appear in another solar system, whether it was connected or not. The game has since been changed so that the only option is hyperlane travel, although wormholes do feature in the game later on. And the hyperlane travel is now effectively limited, as you see, where you can only go to the places that you've unlocked out of the Fog of War. It just kind of slows down the early game a bit to focus on exploration, because it could just be, originally you could just Zerg rush effectively just by focusing on building up a military power and then just sending it around the galaxy and blowing everybody up. I can see both the point of it, the way that they've changed it and it slowing it down. Ultimately, you kind of have to be prepared to lose a lot of time to this game. A game of Stellaris will last a long, long time. It's not even really like Civilization, where you could effectively complete a game of Civilization in a number of hours. Stellaris is more like you will play this save for weeks. I've never actually completed a game of Stellaris on that point.
Anomaly detected.
No, we'll leave that for now.
Anomaly detected.
No, we'll still leave that one for now. Yeah, you want to definitely make sure that you are taking a decent amount of control of the space around you. First time I jumped back into Stellaris a few days ago, it was the last time I played was well before the update, and I didn't realize that the way that it used to work, where your population on your planets would affect how big your empire was, that was completely gone, and you now had to build an outpost in every star system to increase your empire. So I spent quite a long time waiting for my population to affect my empire growth, only for it to not happen, and another empire effectively grew up around me, and that game was a write-off. That was done. That's just not going to happen anymore. So we've got an extra bit of unity, so we can do a bit more research now. I think we probably want that, which has a nice little nod to Off-World Trading Company, which is another neat space-based strategy game. Colony development speed plus 50%. Yes, please. I will have that. Thank you very much. The technologies that you get to choose from are random every time. I think there's an increasing pool as you work through all of them. So each one kind of has a level to work up to. But it does mean that you can get a pretty different selection of technologies throughout each different playthrough. Let's go with cheaper upkeep for our star bases. Yeah, if you don't end up researching something at that time, you can obviously come back and get it on later. We now know without a doubt that a thriving biosphere is not something unique to Bactur. With both the scientific community and the public at large are eager to learn more about the various forms of alien life found throughout the galaxy. Efforts to catalogue the life forms we encounter are already underway, but our xenobiologists have urged us to focus on our planetary survey efforts on habitable life-bearing worlds. Commendable initiative. So if I check our situation log, go away. That mission effectively comes into here, and it's effectively a long-term mission to find habitable worlds and survey them. There are other stuff in here. This is our precursors mission, ongoing mission to find out more about the Volatum. And this is our elected governor's kind of manifesto, which is to have an energy credit surplus up to at least plus 20 a month, which we've nearly got actually. And the reward for them fulfilling their manifesto is 6 months worth of unity. So that's a little extra boost on our upgrade thing if we do that. Engineering, what do we want? I think we will probably want to give a little bit of love to our corvettes. Unpause. Construction ship doing nothing. Yep. So far these star systems have a bottleneck of our home system. So that's actually quite useful. These will always be pretty well defended now. Which is actually one really good thing of the way that they've set up the hyperlanes now. Because you can't just go from that system to that system because they're not joined. The route that you have to take to get to that system gives it a little bit of extra defense, a little bit of extra security. Let's get some more energy. I'm lucking out quite well actually with the amount of different energy that I'm getting from these star systems. Sometimes you can go to these star systems and you'll get absolutely bugger all from them, but we're getting quite a decent haul energy wise. Remnants of a small Volatum helium-3 mining base have been found at the bottom of a large crater on Beth Phala. The blast that created the crater seems to have originated from inside the facility itself. Unless Volatum mining techniques were radically different from our own, an equipment failure or an accident cannot account for such a massive explosion. So that's going to be a new anomaly to research. So we'll just leave them doing that for the moment. I think we will build our first new ship in the meantime. We can start exploring a bit more as well.
Construction complete.
So for our ship to be able to do anything, we need a new leader for the ship, captain effectively. These buffs mostly always just affect selecting a scientist to study one of your research things, but sometimes you get an anomaly discovery chance plus 10%, something like that. So we'll recruit them and we'll put them on a ship. That's quite useful. Yeah, I guess the bottlenecks in the game can get a little bit on the negative side as well. You can only get what you get, I guess. Now, what I could potentially do is just have a bit of a scout ship as well. And we'll have this science ship take off to a little bit further out and probably work its way back in, so we can start covering a few more hyperlanes.
Construction complete.
In particular, we want to kind of find out stuff about this area, so we're not getting sandwiched in between other empires if we can avoid it. Let's just continue mining more energy there. Another scientist. Anomaly research speed. That will come in very handy indeed. So we'll send you out here. That's the farthest I can go with a hyperlane that will actually continue out that way. Colonization. We should be able to uncover a new planet fairly soon, I hope.
Survey complete.
So if I just zoom out, that gives you a kind of overview of the galaxy itself and the size that you're dealing with. You can get bigger in the game. This is a large, and you can go quite a bit further than that. This is kind of the right size, I feel, especially if you're talking about 8 other empires in the game. You'll have a few little fallen empires and marauders dotted around there as well. Unfulfilled? Oh, no. Oh, rubbish. I was definitely plus 20 at one point. Damn. I must have only just gone under it. Credits income. I assume you mean energy credits. So energy credits is from mining the little electricity symbol. So that's what my construction ship is currently doing. It's just gone into this star system, and it's going to build a mining system above this sun, and that will give me an extra boost in my energy credits.
Detected.
Yeah, you do that. And that you can see what's producing it, and what's consuming it, and that's how it's coming out with that plus 19 number. I do indeed have idling ships. It's the downside of playing on fastest. The game often gets away from me. Unpause. There we go. Not a problem. Thank you for the follow. Everything's kind of quietened down. We're not really encountering too much now. It's surprising. It's been about 12 in-game years now. So far, no sign of any other empires. I normally find at least one by now. It's probably a sign that there aren't any around here.
Construction complete.
Probably a little further out that way or that way. Oh, we've got a habitable planet. Yeah, just do it. Just do it. So, we need to go here. I've slowed down that. Balls. Blah 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 blah. Was home to a small volatile outpost where they traded with several neighbouring civilizations. At some point, the trade post appears to have been converted into a religious mission, where the Volatum attempted to convert visiting alien merchants to their philosophy. Trade ceased shortly afterwards, and the moon was eventually abandoned. Fascinating. A science ship's investigating a thing that's making this take too long. Ooh, finally something's happening. The latest sensory readings from Roscan showed the star pulsating regularly, but when the crew on the ISS Padagur arrived on the site, there was no evidence to support this data. While most of the crew are in agreement that the anomaly was caused by sensory malfunction, Science Officer Pagro discards this theory. Pagro claims to have discovered similar pulsating energy emission patterns elsewhere, and now fears that something strange is happening to the galaxy's stars. They have charted the course to the nearest affected star. I have now done this twice, and both times it was a malfunction. So I'm probably just going to assume that it's still just a malfunction and just take the influence from it, because I don't think you get anything when they find out that it's just a malfunction. Just some red faces. They ruined their trade relationships by being preachy.
Survey complete.
So what I'm probably going to do now is take this guy and send him all the way out here, and hopefully I can get to one of these stars and kind of close this circle up a bit. You discovered a gaseous life form from... Oh. I guess it's not scripted to just be one thing or the other then. That's quite cool. I think we're probably going to start adopting some discovery stuff, because I don't really need the other stuff at the moment. Ooh, pretty. Aha. And by going out this far, we've uncovered the hyperlanes that lead to these couple of stars as well. And we probably want to colonize these just so that we don't have this ugly looking little cul-de-sac here. Are you done yet? 35%. Where are you? What are you doing? Oh, you're investigating a thing as well. God damn it. So, because this outpost would be much further away from the rest of our empire, it'll cost more. So I'm probably not going to send my construction ship to go and build there. There's certainly no rush because I've not encountered anyone else, so no one else is coming to make a claim for it. Unfortunately, this is kind of what Stellaris can end up doing, where you're just kind of sat waiting for stuff to happen sometimes. I'm sure there's probably more like proper ways to play the game and min-max it, but I'm not into that shit anyway. Let's do that. Just have a bit of engineering buff. My science ship is done. Let's survey that system so we can find out more about what's going on around here. But this is looking pretty promising that no one else is around me, to the point where I could probably make a good play for most of this space. It's kind of annoying that it doesn't pause for certain things. You don't really want to be leaving your scientists not doing anything for very long. It's just a waste. Eventually they'll die. Like everything does. Research station output, sure, why not? Pop growth speed, yep, please. 50% spreadsheets, 50% waiting, yeah, pretty much. That's not to say there's not a lot of fun in the game. If you're quite into your Star Trek, there's a lot to take from the kind of Star Trek sim aspect of heading out into space, exploring. And one of the things I actually really like about Stellaris, which hopefully we'll actually get to at some point, is that you don't necessarily just have to kill everyone. Even in Civilization, ultimately, there's only one way to win that game, and that's to batter everyone to death. Full-time engineers at some point built a massive orbital complex near Pyth 7? Dedicated to computer research. Strangely, they seem to have ignored the normally popular field of artificial intelligence to focus exclusively on virtual realities and massive computer simulations, the Matrix. Most of the complex has been ruined by weapons fire and micrometeoroids, but what remains is in remarkable condition given the station's age.
Log updated.
Sometimes you'll get missions like that, not on this specific quest chain, which is pretty much a standard quest chain with different text and stuff every time you start the game, but sometimes you'll get missions like that and you'll uncover specific ships or items or other interesting things that I won't spoil. I'm tempted to spoil one, but I won't. It's worth playing the game so that you can uncover those kind of things for yourself. I think the gameplay kind of relies on firstly having patience. You need a lot of patience. Secondly, just wanting to kind of chill out, I guess. The game never really gets too stressful, and when stuff starts popping off with military fleets all over the place, you can at least pause and just do whatever you want. Impressive structures litter a small area on the surface. Okay. Do that then. I suppose while I'm waiting, I can build a colony ship. Eventually this dickhead's gonna finish his bloody investigation. We'll colonize this planet as soon as we actually can. Oh, you're doing nothing. Go and finish that survey. The structures on Diffa C are not as old as we first believed. Seems a playground or amusement park of some sort. Science officer Pagro notes that many of the contraptions are highly complex creations that we can learn much from, and that to builders' alien eyes, this might have been a cutting-edge sensor array or even a gigantic art installation. Regardless, to our space snails, it mostly looks like a place where you would take your young and let them amuse themselves. We get a nice little boost of that, so that can help unlock our technologies a bit quicker when we get stuff like that. A small Voltram satellite was found in orbit of Ambor 2. It has been set up to continuously repeat a message until its power source drained millions of years ago. We salvaged its transmitter array, but we were only able to recover a small portion of the transmission. The main purpose of this satellite was apparently to preach the dominant Valtuum philosophy to neighbouring civilizations. Very, very preachy, these guys. This message speaks of the need to disconnect and to embrace true existence, whatever that means.
Log updated.
Beginning to see why these guys aren't around anymore, to be honest. Why aren't you doing stuff? Oh. Yeah, too many things happening at once now. Alright, you go there. Let's see, where can we send you? Let's send you all the way out there. And you can go and explore there. That'll just help us find a bit more space. But I'm going to have to start kind of surveying the rest of these systems again in a minute. something great journey. Discovery. Survey ship speed increased.
Complete.
Yes, please. To boldly go indeed.
Construction complete.
Yes, let's build more generators on Baktor. What I might just start doing is let's give ourselves a few more science ships. It helps massively once you get to unlock the ability to automatically survey areas. You can basically just send your science ships off and just have them do whatever the hell they want. Stops having to constantly permanently interact with them.
Construction complete. Survey complete.
Survey complete. That's
Construction complete.
so far no aliens. Let's have this guy just kind of surveying this area now. Colony ship is done. That can go there. Need a few new leaders. Yep, I'll do. That will also do. None of those are particularly helpful, so I'll just go for the youngest guy. And let's just get a bit of a chain gang going. Oh, an ancient subspace gateway has been located near Screeching Abyss. What a name. It appears to have been built entirely by microscopic nanites of an unknown design. This particular gateway shows sign of having been altered at some point after its initial construction. Its connection to the rest of the network has been severed. Instead, the only valid destination is an uncharted group of stars just beyond our galaxy that has been designated the L cluster by our astronomers. Although the gateway emits a faint power signature, it has been deliberately locked into some kind of maintenance loop that prevents its activation. Until we find some way of aborting this process, the L cluster will remain beyond our reach.
Log updated.
So what that is it's not a thing about being able to travel outside of this galaxy. At the end of the game, effectively, without giving too much of it away, but at the end of the game, after you've taken over the galaxy, or been part of a federation that now controls the galaxy, something will happen. Ship sensors are picking up an unexplained pattern of interference in the Uldor system. Okay. So basically the end game of the game is a crisis will happen once the galaxy is at peace, one way or another. I'm not new to this game. This playthrough is brand new. We've just started it. Everybody else is kind of new to the game though. Where's my construction ship? Ah, there he is. Ah, I'm paused. That's why nothing's happening. During its survey of Screeching Abyss, the ISS World discovered a previously unknown strategic resource dubbed dark matter. This exotic substance has many properties that seemingly defy several natural laws. It could potentially revolutionize the sciences. While we do not yet possess the means to extract this resource, we should seriously consider establishing control over the system for future exploitation. Where is Screeching Abyss? Ah, there it is. The ISS Padager crew has succeeded in isolating a signal embedded within the unusual pattern of interference in the Uldor system. The signal is a song, a complex sonification of an advanced mathematical equation to be precise, and one that Science Officer Pagro cannot seem to get out of their heads. Who or what may have composed this song remains unknown, though its complexity infers an incredible level of technological sophistication regarding subspace harmonics. The signal's geodesics suggest a point of origin from outside our galaxy. Yet another thing outside of our galaxy. You might not necessarily be entirely wrong with the kind of Reaper's analogy there. So there's our Screeching Abyss. And there's our funky little L-gate. Which is quite cool, I think. I think I might just send this guy off to try and find someone at this point. It was not immediately apparent at the time, but the recent survey carried out by the ISS Padager seemingly sparked a breakthrough in the ongoing study of the mysterious L-gates when the report filtered back to the scientific community on Backtour. L-gate insight gained +1. Whatever that'll end up meaning. That'll help our ships in the near future.
Technology discovered.
What have we got?
Anomaly detected.
Let's do that. Ah, stuff's happening too quickly. It's discovered a previously unknown strategic resource named volatile motes. Preternatural particles contain a tremendous amount of energy, which could be exploited in energy production as fuel or even explosives. Keep that one on the back burner. Our colony ship has arrived. Probably arrived quite a while ago, to be fair. That's where is the planet? There it is. Colonize planet, please. Not really familiar with Master of Orion to be able to comment on it, to be honest. Our colony ship has found a rare patch of open ground in the jungles of Ambor Prime and mid-planetfall. The landing site is surrounded on all sides by lush vegetation, and sentry drones have been deployed to guard against predators. The ship has been permanently converted into the administrative headquarters of the new settlement, and its reactor core is in the process of being removed so that it may serve as the colony's temporary power source. Hundreds of small tents and prefab shelters have sprung up around the former starship's massive hull as colonists begin to disembark in large numbers, the first space snuck city on an alien world.
Anomaly detected.
Yeah. For some reason, someone has towed an asteroid into a stable orbit around Himpra Aya. The massive engine sections and braking thrusters can still be found around the surface, although they have long since been rendered inoperable. Whoever did this also mined the asteroid for minerals, but those operations were seemingly abandoned shortly after they began. Interesting indeed, game. Interesting indeed. So, our colony is currently being established, which means that it's taking a drain on our resources that we wouldn't otherwise have. Once it's finished being established, we stop that drain, basically, and then it'll start being able to be productive and feed back into our resources.
Survey complete.
Let's see, let's have a look at those systems. You can start off there.
Complete.
Yeah, okay. Good omen if you insist. The asteroid was evidently used as a junkyard by someone at some point in the distant past. All manner of discarded machinery and metallic refuse has been deposited inside the asteroid's weak gravity well, being slowly pulled into the jumble of debris that now covers the surface. There is nothing of particular value that could be found here, but a lot of the metal could be salvaged by a mining station, so we'll get a handful of little extra minerals. To be fair, +3 minerals is actually pretty decent haul. Blue lasers. Yes, please. Just do the thing. The magnetic field of Upolthvla experienced a complete reversal while it was being observed by the ISS Teglosk. Jesus Christ, these names. The rare event has interchanged the positions of the moon's magnetic pole. Fortunately, it was recorded by the sensors of our ship, providing our scientists with a lot of valuable data. I'm sure that's probably not the last I'm going to hear of that one. Where are you? You probably want to start working your way back in, to be honest. Genuinely surprised that I've gone this far and not actually encountered anyone else. The game might not have actually made that many of them for some reason. The mummified remains of a single individual belonging to a previously unknown mammalian species have been found drifting in high orbit over Teus 3. The being is dressed in what appears to be a flight suit complete with a helmet, and may be a fighter pilot that ejected in some ancient battle only to be forgotten and left behind. Our study of the corpse has provided some interesting data. A tragic fate.
Anomaly detected.
Oh, 6A. Yeah, that wasn't clear. That definitely looked like an L. Where is everyone?
Survey complete.
This is the most empty game of this I've ever played.
Anomaly detected. Anomaly detected.
We have discovered an abandoned solar sail ship in orbit around Piscus 1A? Or La? Whichever one it is. The sublight vessel was built by an unknown culture and appears to be several thousand years old. One of the massive sails has a large tear where a kind of object passed through it, most likely a meteoroid, which appears to have disabled the vessel. Although the technology of the ship is severely outdated, it does possess some interesting engineering choices. So we get a little bit of engineering boost at least.
Survey.
Quite like to find one of these where I get a ship out of it though.
Survey complete.
Oh shush. It could be La, you don't know.
Anomaly detected.
Yeah, do the thing. I'm sorry I'm not really reading those ones, but they're kind of very basic and often repeat anyway, to be honest. Go that direction, I think. There is clear evidence that a massive space battle took place in close orbit around Teos 9 at some point in the last 5,000 years. The surface on one side of the planet is pockmarked with craters from stray weapons blasts, and scans from the ISS Padagur, it's always the Padagur, have picked up several hulks on the ground. Though these wrecked ships are all in very poor condition, the fact that anything remains at all after the damage they must have sustained is a testament to their advanced design. Science Officer Pagro's getting a lot of shit in this game, is preparing an expedition to sift through these derelict hulls for any valuable technologies. Issue special project, Mount Graveyard Expedition. I think I might get a ship out of that eventually. What's my construction ship doing? He's building an outpost there, that's what he's doing. Large mineral-rich asteroid collided with Hydra 4A at some point during the previous 1,000 years in what could only have been a major impact event. An abundance of materials can now be found on the moon in the vicinity of the impact crater, +3 to that moon. Thank you.
Anomaly detected.
What are you guys up to? We're not generating too much food, so we might just get onto that. Piscus C2 frequently experiences massive and extremely violent storm systems in its atmosphere. Several dozen persistent storms are visible from orbit, with winds often reaching speeds in excess of 700 miles per second. Meters per second? The cause of these storms is not immediately apparent, as we have found nothing in the planet's climate model that could explain them. Our scientists are interested in studying this anomaly. I'm sure they are. Not really building any research stations, though. I don't really have too many to build at the moment, I guess.
Survey complete. Colony founded.
Hooray! So our colony is now properly established, which means that Amber Prime will slowly begin able to actually contribute to our empire rather than being a net taker. Effectively, they'll go from being Republicans to Democrats. Politics.
Anomaly detected.
Yeah, please. All our science ships are just sat around doing fuck all at the moment, so let's fix that. How have you still not found anyone? Thanks, Stell. Where are we? We are here. Yeah, might as well just finish that off. And I guess you can probably do that, because I don't think I've got anyone else there now. Okay, so we're going to start expanding our outposts to match our science ships a little bit more. I might even want to build another construction ship to do that.
Anomaly detected. Anomaly detected. Construction complete.
I want to go for that since we're not really encountering anybody else. The ISS Shalurga crew report that what first appeared to be on our scanners to be as an asteroid is in fact a gigantic floating ball of junk, comprised of the broken remains of various vehicles, rockets, and hazardous material, many of them radioactive. The junk ball seems to be the detritus of an unknown alien nation in the early space age, probably humans, the assholes. It would appear that this nation was an interstellar litterer, ejecting dangerous industrial waste into orbit rather than disposing of it planet-side. Radiometric dating suggests that these remains are millions of years old and have been floating through space from an unknown point of origin for most of that time. Science officer notes that the materials found on the floating junk heap are quite rare and could be refined into useful resources. So we'll get a little bit of bonus alloy from that.
Complete.
Not bad for a ball of crap. What are you up to? You can go there and do that.
Complete.
Massive crater on Markaz 2b appears to be the result of a collision with a starship. From the size of the crater, we suspect that a ship exiting a hyperlane at maximum velocity rammed the moon for reasons unknown roughly 10,000 years ago. The ISS Padager, our own Enterprise at this point basically, has picked up residual subspace echoes near the crash site reminiscent of a collapsed hyperparticulate field, but as the ship itself disintegrated on impact, the theory cannot be verified. Big words. Yeah, if we do that with our own junk, this is what's going to happen. Some poor dick's going to end up with it. Nestled in sheltered pockets across Ryle Somot 3's surface is a rich sludge of simple organic compounds that our researchers believe could be a hotbed for biogenesis, the spontaneous formation of organic life from lifeless matters. Right, lifeless matter, not matters. Ryle Somot 3 has an unusually thick atmosphere for a barren world, which could make it hospitable for simple life forms. Although this presents a unique opportunity to study what could be the early stages of the origin of life, it would be best to set our expectations low, as it might still be millions of years before it evolves naturally on Ryle Somot 3, if at all. Oh, this is basically copied and pasted out of Star Trek level of technobabble, to be completely honest. Why are you doing nothing? Please do something. You are also doing nothing. We cannot be having that.
Survey complete.
Wow, I have never uncovered this much of the map and not encountered anyone at this point.
Anomaly detected.
It's getting a bit mad. I'm wondering if this game actually has anyone else in it at all.
Survey complete.
I mean, the main concerning thing is that by the time I actually encounter someone else, they could be massively more advanced than I am. Exotic gases previously unknown to us. These gases have a variety of different uses, particularly in the operation of advanced energy-based weaponry and force fields. Some of the gases can also be used as starship fuel or even as recreational drugs.
Survey complete.
Basically asking to encounter some hyper-merger civilization. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's no one else left because they've already killed them all.
Anomaly detected. Survey complete.
At least I don't have to worry about getting sandwiched in by anyone at the moment, so there's that at least. We've got that going for us. I would like to encounter someone else in the next half an hour before we stop, though. It's not as if I'm not trying.
Survey complete.
Send you out as far as we can as well. Extend our reach a little bit.
Technology discovered.
Having probed the frozen landscapes of the moon Lastus 3A, we think we have struck something big. Science Officer Ablagor speaks of a bacterial life form unlike any other. It bonds with other individuals to form large blankets that are durable yet light, and also act like solar cells. They absorb solar energy with a surprisingly low efficiency loss percentage, most likely as a result of evolution favouring those who could gather more heat in the harsh climate. Our researchers back home could surely find some use of this information. So we can send to our homeworld to study, results will take a while to process, or we can be dickheads and try and find a military use. Let's improve energy production, because we're not dickheads. Planet build speed. Yeah, okay, let's have that. Our energy development research have made progress with the samples we sent to them from Lastus 3A. That was quick. They have been able to develop a new type of solar cell using the organisms as a template. They are much more efficient at storing energy and will provide a boost to all of our power plants. Neat.
Construction complete.
Head towards the galaxy center. I mean, I'm not very far out from the galaxy star center, to be honest. By the looks of it, the hyperlanes are around that kind of thing anyway, so there's not too much space. Ah, finally. We have encountered some form of alien vessels in the Haneri system. These strange objects have been flagged as alpha aliens until we can learn more about them. Where was that? Who's in the Haneri system? Ah, it's there. So that's interesting. That means that they have come from here-ish. So they're around there somewhere. Have a quick peek at them. There they are. Now, if you've paid more attention than I have, you could probably tell what kind of species we're dealing with by the ship that they've got. But I can't.
Anomaly detected.
Rupro. The ISS Teglos never made it all the way to B134 blah 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 to study the anomalies surrounding it. The ship, along with Science Officer Abligor and the crew, blinked out of existence as it was navigating the debris field, and then reappeared minutes later. Abligor reports that they found themselves briefly in some extra-dimensional space. External viewports revealed that they were surrounded by countless ships of alien design, suspended in a seemingly endless void. Before the crew could get bearings, the vision abruptly faded and they found themselves back in regular space. However, roughly half the crew are missing. Science Officer Abligor speculates that this may have been selectively trapped by some unknowable mechanism in that strange space. It's far too late to be reading these fucking words. Too bad. Oh dear, more's happening. The missing members of the ISS Teglos crew, thought lost to the Dimensional Rift, have reappeared. They hailed us from aboard an unknown vessel, not entirely dissimilar from our own science ships, idling close to where the ISS Teglos, horrible name, originally experienced the dimensional disturbance. They claim to remember nothing of their time away from outside our dimension, aside from a vague awareness of having been away for some time. They wish for nothing but to return for service under Science Officer Abligor and intend to surrender their ship to the Spexnel authorities. So we get a free ship out of it. Cool.
Survey complete.
Other science ship. We don't have anyone to recruit to lead it though.
Complete.
That's yeah, they're all not very useful, to be honest. Okay, so knowing that we had the aliens visiting here, we now kind of need to make sure that we shore up our empire around these kind of lanes, so that we don't get anyone creeping in and taking over our space on us. So we'll probably move you there so that you can build an outpost when we're finished.
Anomaly detected.
After identifying an anomaly in the gravity well of blah blah blah, the ISS Ogar has discovered the shattered wreckage of an ancient ore superfreighter buried deep within the asteroid's crust. It must have carried a full load when it crashed, and the asteroid's mineral wealth has been revised accordingly. +3. Thank you. So even though I have actually encountered aliens at last, I still don't really know where they are. Which is not convenient.
Survey complete.
An abandoned life pod was detected in close orbit of Not even going to try. It's covered in scorch marks, presumably from when the pod's mothership exploded, and preliminary scans suggest it was built more than 5,000 years ago. Everything seems to be built more than 5,000 years ago. The crew of the ISS blah 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 managed to open the pod, revealing the withered remains of a reptilian alien clad in resplendent uniform. Clutched in one of its claws was a small picture of another individual of the same race, possibly a male or revered leader. Interesting. Yes, automatic exploration. Thank you. Looking forward to that one unlocking.
Survey complete.
Yep, go there. You're already here. Ah, damn it.
Anomaly detected.
Yeah, do the thing.
Construction.
Oh, we're gonna have to wait a month. Tick over it. There we go.
Survey complete.
Oh, we are receiving a transmission from the Just Can cult. They appear to have successfully translated our language. Diplomatic channels are now open, and all hostilities between us have ceased for the moment. Not that we had any. Sheep people. I bring greetings from the Oracle Tikbathan, the undisputed ruler of the Just Can cult. Respect our borders and keep out of our affairs, and perhaps our mighty fleets will refrain from visiting your worlds. Yeah. You seem nice. Ah, there they are. Yeah, pretty much right on fucking top of us, aren't they? I'm not going to worry too much about that stuff because it never really matters.
Anomaly detected.
So what we can see from these guys is that their relative power is that they're considerably stronger than us in their fleet power. In other words, they've actually built some. We've still just got our one little military fleet. Because, well, there's nothing to shoot with them, so... They have closed borders to an unidentified empire. So there's another empire around that way that they've managed to fuck off already. That's a good sign, isn't it? We need to get a hurry on and make sure that we claim this space, don't we? While on the surface, Seacon appears to be an ordinary white dwarf, the star hides an intriguing secret. By studying Seacon's pulsations, the From Beyond crew have discovered its composition to be almost... from that crew. To be almost entirely crystallized carbon. This astronomical crystal lattice seems to have formed as the star cooled, originating in its gas-fusing core and growing outwards over time. Seacon is a diamond of cosmological proportions, glinting beyond a veil of behind a white veil of oxygen and helium. Interesting indeed. Come back, dude. You need to come and survey the system immediately.
Survey complete.
We need to get out there and build an outpost there right the hell now. Hellish difficulty. Good God. Yeah, I think we will indeed leave that be for now. Through our surveys of the habitable worlds, our biologists have collected a vast amount of data on alien life forms. Many of our older theories on the development of life have been disproved, and our scientific community has had to build new models from scratch. That's probably because these fuckers are walking around. Our most interesting findings are being displayed at the newly dedicated Museum of Exobiology and Bacter. The public is enthralled, and many donations have come in to aid the continued search of strange life forms. Like these guys. These guys that are about to be a massive pain in my ass unless we get this star system. Even this is really fucking annoying, to be honest. Let's just bring you back a bit. Yeah, go there, please. We'll move you there, but I can't really do anything about you yet, can we? I don't want to slow it down until we've built this, at least. We have encountered some form of alien vessels in the S-Quick system. Yeah, we'll be stopping soon.
Survey complete.
So, what we find here is an alien space station of unknown origin. It's not built around the star. I've got a feeling it should be if it's a proper space station. It might be a kind of mercenary small empire, effectively, that only ever exists in that one system. Yes, build that. We're also going to need to build there as well, aren't we?
Anomaly detected. Survey complete.
I suppose you could have just done that, dick.
Construction complete.
Oh, I guess they could probably do that twice as fast together. Oh well. Images capturing Lastus 2's mesmerizing purple-coloured rain taken by the ISS Shaka's surface exploration probes somehow find their way into the hands of the cultural elite on Bactor. While the discovery is of no scientific value, the evocative imagery of the colourful precipitation sparks a minor renaissance in the Spasnel art world, the positive effects of which might be felt for years to come. Remarkable indeed. What are you doing now? While approaching Esquik 2, the ISS suddenly received a glancing hit by several passing mass driver rounds. The projectiles were billions of years old, and based on their trajectory appeared to be the stray rounds fired from a neighbouring galaxy. After missing their intended target, they continued on their journey for untold millennia, until today. The rounds we have recovered are of an advanced design despite their incredible age. If we're going to get anything out of it? Not really. Oh well.
Anomaly detected.
No, don't do anything for now. You move there, please. Ah, you can just piss off. Piss the whole way off. Artisan troop. Jesus. A visitor. This is a joyous occasion indeed. Oh, forgive my manners. I believe introductions are in order. We're the Artisan troop. Our members have dedicated their lives to the pursuit of art, music, culture, and all the other things that makes existence bearable to a sapient being. Please, if you would like to share in the wonder of our creations, please do not hesitate to contact us. Don't you dare build anything here.
Anomaly detected.
Oh, bugger off. Stop it.
Survey complete.
After detailed analysis, Officer Obligor has discovered that the strange metallic substance coating the surface of Veldon 4A in fact comprises of billions of nanites. These nanites are microscopic self-replicating micromachines, vroom vroom, perhaps created by a past civilization for some unknown purpose. The volume and density of this nanite sludge is remarkable, adding billions of tons of mass to the underlying planet. It would appear these tiny self-replicators entered a state of runaway replication at some point in the past, engulfing the entire planet and everything on it. Jesus Christ. In studying the nanites, the crew has made some exciting new findings that will undoubtedly aid us in our own research. Oh, Elgate insight gained as well. Interesting. Interesting. These guys have probably come here to ruin my day.
Survey complete.
Ah, balls.
Survey complete.
Oh, I knew they were going to end up doing that to me. I've not tried that before. I'm not really sure what it's going to do. Hi. Tentacle face. Yeah, I still don't really know what I've done there. I think the more claims that I put on it, the more justification I have for taking it off them if we end up going to war. But they would absolutely annihilate me at the moment if we did, to be honest. Wow, these guys have met a lot of people and pissed quite a lot of them off. Seems this side of space is just empty. I think we're getting to a decent stopping point for now. So they're Hell Corporation of squids. Oh, hello. Oh, these are the artisan guys. It's not really clear how they ended up getting in touch with me from all the way over there, but yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, so we'll kind of leave it there for now. There's a planned stream for Friday, but it's not really the kind of normal stream. It's more just a get-together for playing some Jackbox games. But that's going to be going on Friday on this channel. And then we won't be here next Saturday because we're going to go and see Captain Marvel. So we'll probably be back the week after with something or other. Thanks for watching in the meantime. That's been a quick overview of Stellaris. If you enjoyed it, it's just come out on console. It's fully featured, but I don't think it has the latest expansion. Not sure on that. I think otherwise it is the full game. Plays exactly the same as this, just on a gamepad. Otherwise you can get it on Steam. And that's it for now. And we'll see you later on.